Be going deep on Bitcoin.
Ooh, Bitcoin.
Yeah, we're going to trace its journey, from
Huh.
its shadowy beginnings to the global force it is today.
Wow.
We'll be using a really interesting podcast script as our guide for this deep dive.
Cool.
And get this, you ready for this? Someone once paid 10,000 Bitcoins for a couple of pizzas. I
Ah.
know those are some pricey pies.
Yeah, that is unbelievable, especially when you consider those same Bitcoins today would be worth millions.
It's crazy.
It really highlights how much Bitcoin has grown. And it's fascinating to think about, Bitcoin was born in the wake of that 2008 financial crisis, a time when people just didn't trust traditional financial systems anymore.
So people were looking for a different way,
Yeah.
an alternative to the usual banks and all that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where Satoshi Nakamoto enters the picture.
Yeah, the mysterious creator.
Right. We still don't know if it was a person or a group, but they introduced this revolutionary idea, a decentralized digital currency. It was all about cutting out the middleman, you know?
Like a true peer-to-peer system.
Exactly. Putting the power back into the hands of individuals.
A currency free from the control of governments and banks.
Right.
It must have sounded pretty radical at the time.
Oh, it definitely did. And underpinning this whole idea, this whole concept is blockchain technology.
Okay, so blockchain, I've heard that term, but
Right. So think of it as like a digital ledger
okay.
that records every single Bitcoin transaction.
So like a history of it.
Exactly. And this ledger isn't stored in one place. It's distributed across a whole network of computers.
Oh, so it's not like one central bank or authority that's holding all this information.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
No one entity controls it, which makes it pretty secure.
And transparent too, I guess.
Exactly. It's incredibly difficult to tamper with or hack the blockchain.
Mm.
And because it's transparent, everyone can see the transaction history, which just adds to that sense of security and trust.
Okay, I'm starting to get the appeal now, but how did Bitcoin actually go from this kind of obscure tech concept to something people are actually using?
It was a gradual process. In its early days, Bitcoin was mostly the domain of those tech enthusiasts.
Right.
People who were willing to just experiment, see where this new technology could go.
Tinkerers.
Yeah, exactly. And back then, the value of a Bitcoin was practically nothing.
And this is where our famous pizza story comes in.
Yes. Back in 2010, a programmer named Laszlo Hanyecz decided to use Bitcoin to buy 2 pizzas.
Really?
He ended up paying 10,000 Bitcoins.
10,000 just for 2 pieces.
Yeah, which at the time was only worth around $25.
Oh, wow. If he had held on to those Bitcoins, they'd be worth a fortune today.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing how much the value has exploded.
It really is. It's a testament to Bitcoin's exponential growth. But this growth wasn't just random,
Yeah.
As more people started understanding the potential of a decentralized currency, its popularity grew.
So more people buying in, driving up the price, kind of like a snowball effect.
Yeah, in a way, yes. And this growing popularity caught the attention of companies and investors.
Okay.
Major players like Tesla and Square started adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets.
Wow. So big names getting involved.
Yeah, and that really signaled a shift.
It was like Bitcoin was finally being taken seriously.
Exactly. Even traditional financial institutions like PayPal and Fidelity,
Right.
who were initially quite skeptical, they started offering Bitcoin services.
Wow.
And then we saw El Salvador becoming the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender.
A whole country.
Yeah,
So from pizza money to being recognized by governments, Bitcoin has come a long way.
it really has.
But what makes it so attractive? Is it just about the potential to make money?
It's definitely part of the appeal, but there's more to it than that.
Okay.
Unlike traditional currencies, which governments can print endlessly,
Right.
there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in existence.
Oh, wow. So it's finite.
Yeah, it's limited.
Yeah.
And that makes it a deflationary asset.
Deflationary. So does that mean its value could potentially increase over time?
That's exactly what it means.
Wow.
Think about it, like traditional currencies often lose value over time due to inflation.
Right. The dollar doesn't buy what it used to.
Exactly. But Bitcoin, with its limited supply, could become more valuable, potentially giving you more purchasing power in the future.
Okay. I can see how that would be attractive in a world where everything seems to be getting more expensive.
Right.
So people are treating it like a digital version of gold, a safe haven asset.
Exactly. It's a way to protect your wealth from inflation.
I see.
And because it's decentralized, it can offer financial inclusion to people who don't have access to traditional banking systems.
Oh, that's a really important point.
Yeah.
So it's about more than just making a profit. It's about giving people more control over their financial lives.
Precisely. It's a powerful concept that has resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah, I can see why.
But of course, no system is without its challenges.
And I'm guessing Bitcoin has had its fair share of those.
Absolutely. But we'll dive into those challenges in the next part of our deep dive.
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
All right, we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to the deep dive. Last time we saw how Bitcoin went from like those early pizza buying days
Oh, yeah.
to being embraced by like these huge companies and even some countries.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
It has, but no technology is perfect, right? There's always going to be some bumps in the road.
That's true, and Bitcoin has faced its share of criticism and challenges for sure.
Like what kind of challenges?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is its energy consumption.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Bitcoin mining, the process that verifies transactions and adds them to the blockchain, it uses a lot of computing power.
Right. A lot of computers crunching numbers.
Exactly, and that translates to a pretty hefty energy bill.
So there are worries about Bitcoin's impact on the environment.
Yeah, definitely concerns about it contributing to carbon emissions and all that.
So is Bitcoin bad for the environment?
Well, it's not quite as simple as saying Bitcoin is inherently bad for the environment.
Okay. The industry is actively working to address this issue.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Many miners are switching to renewable energy sources, like solar and wind power.
So it's kind of like any industry trying to find more sustainable ways to operate.
That's a good way to put it. And there are also ongoing efforts to make the mining process itself more energy efficient.
Interesting. So it's a work in progress.
It is, but there's a growing awareness of the need to minimize Bitcoin's environmental footprint.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those concerns I've heard about Bitcoin's scalability?
Oh, right.
Like, as more people use it, the network can get bogged down, leading to slower transaction times and those higher fees.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. The Bitcoin network can only process a limited number of transactions per second.
Oh, so it's like a highway that gets congested during rush hour.
Exactly, and when things get busy, it can lead to delays and those increased costs you mentioned.
So are there any potential solutions in the works to fix that?
There are a few promising avenues. One is the Lightning Network.
Okay, what's that? It basically creates a layer on top of the main Bitcoin blockchain.
Okay.
It allows for faster and cheaper transactions by taking some of the load off the main network.
So it's like an express lane for Bitcoin transactions.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
I like that. But even with these solutions, are there other challenges that could like hinder Bitcoin's adoption going forward?
Well, there's the volatility issue.
Oh, right. Bitcoin's price is kind of famous for going up and down like crazy.
Yeah, it has been known to swing dramatically, which can make it a risky investment for some.
It's not exactly ideal if you're trying to use Bitcoin for everyday purchases, is it?
Right. If the value of your Bitcoin holdings can fluctuate significantly, it makes it difficult to rely on it as a stable form of currency.
So are there any ways to stabilize the price or make it less susceptible to these wild swings?
There are various approaches being explored,
Okay.
but it's important to remember that volatility is inherent to any emerging asset class.
Especially one as revolutionary as Bitcoin.
Why is that?
Okay, so maybe it's not quite ready to replace the dollar in my wallet just yet.
Maybe not yet.
But even with these challenges, there's clearly a lot of excitement and potential surrounding Bitcoin.
Absolutely. And we're already seeing it being applied in innovative ways beyond just being a digital currency.
Like what?
For example, Bitcoin's underlying technology, the blockchain,
Right.
it's being used to revolutionize supply chain management.
Supply chain management. That sounds pretty far removed from buying pizzas.
It might seem that way, but it's a perfect example of how versatile blockchain technology can be.
Okay.
Imagine being able to track the origin and journey of a product with complete transparency and security.
Oh, wow.
That's what blockchain enables. Every step of the process, from raw materials to manufacturing to delivery, is recorded on the blockchain.
It's like a digital trail that everyone involved can see.
Exactly. This creates an immutable and transparent record that's accessible to everyone, which reduces the risk of fraud, counterfeiting, and inefficiencies.
I can see how that would be incredibly valuable, especially for industries dealing with like high-value goods or where transparency is really important.
Absolutely. And because Bitcoin transactions are global and relatively fast, it can streamline cross-border payments, making international trade more efficient.
It's like a digital passport for products.
Exactly. Ensuring authenticity and accountability at every stage.
Wow. So from pizzas to potentially revolutionizing global trade, it's clear Bitcoin has come a long way. But where else could this technology shake things up?
Wow. Let's see.
Are there other industries where we're seeing its impact?
Definitely the gaming industry is another area where Bitcoin and blockchain technology are making waves.
Oh, interesting.
We're already seeing in-game purchases, and virtual economies and cryptocurrencies could create a more secure and seamless way for gamers to interact and transact within these virtual worlds.
So instead of using traditional payment methods or in-game currencies, players could use Bitcoin directly.
Exactly. It could lead to truly decentralized and player-driven economies within games.
So players could have more control over their assets and potentially even earn real-world value from their in-game activities.
Right. It's a fascinating concept.
It is. It sounds like it could completely change the way we think about gaming. But with all this innovation, shouldn't we also be thinking about the potential downsides?
Oh, for sure.
Are there any risks or ethical considerations that we need to keep in mind as Bitcoin becomes more integrated into these different industries?
That's a very important point. While the possibilities are exciting, it's crucial to proceed with caution and address any potential risks.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges is the regulatory landscape.
Okay.
It's still very much evolving, and this uncertainty could create challenges for businesses operating in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space.
So governments and regulators are still trying to figure out how to handle this whole new world of digital currencies.
Exactly. And there are also concerns about the potential for illicit activities such as money laundering because of Bitcoin's decentralized and relatively anonymous nature.
Right.
It's important to remember that while these concerns exist for any financial system, they can be amplified in the world of cryptocurrencies, where transactions can be harder to track.
So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Bitcoin's decentralization offers freedom and empowerment, but it also presents challenges in terms of regulation and oversight.
That's a good way to sum it up. Finding the right balance is going to be crucial as Bitcoin continues to evolve.
It sounds like we're at a pivotal moment. Bitcoin has moved beyond the realm of speculation and is starting to have a real impact on various industries, but there are still many questions to be answered and challenges to be addressed.
It's a dynamic and rapidly evolving space, and it's impossible to predict exactly what the future holds. But one thing is certain. Bitcoin has sparked a technological and financial revolution that's only just beginning.
And it's a revolution that's captured the attention of the world, from everyday consumers to major corporations.
Mhm.
Everyone is trying to understand what Bitcoin means for them and their future.
It really has.
It's a topic that sparks debate and raises some really fundamental questions about money technology and the future of our economy.
It truly is an exciting time to witness this transformation unfold.
It is.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting to explore the world of cryptocurrencies, there's no denying that Bitcoin has the potential to reshape the world as we know it.
And we're here to help you navigate this fascinating and complex landscape. Join us in the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore the wider cryptocurrency ecosystem and delve into the long-term implications of this technological revolution. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've journeyed through Bitcoin's past, explored its impact, and even grappled with some of those challenges it faces.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey.
But for this final part, let's zoom out a little and consider the bigger picture.
Okay.
What's really fascinating to me about Bitcoin is it's not just about the technology.
Yeah.
It's a social and economic force that challenges how we think about money and power.
It really does. It puts the power back into the hands of individuals.
We've touched on financial inclusion, but what other ripple effects could a decentralized system like this have on society?
Well, think about it this way. Bitcoin doesn't care where you're from, your social status, your credit history.
Right.
If you have an internet connection, you can participate.
Okay.
This opens up a world of possibilities, especially for communities who have been excluded from those traditional financial systems.
Almost sounds too good to be true, a level playing field when it comes to finance. But where do governments and central banks fit into all of this?
Right.
If Bitcoin keeps gaining momentum, won't that threaten their control?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Some governments see Bitcoin as a threat to their monetary policy, while others are trying to figure out how to integrate it into their existing systems.
Yeah.
It's definitely a complex situation with a lot of moving parts.
So we could be headed towards a future where Bitcoin exists alongside traditional currencies, or even challenges their dominance?
Yeah.
It's certainly a possibility the next few years will be crucial in determining how governments and central banks adapt to this new reality.
It feels like we're on the cusp of a new financial order, and Bitcoin is just one part of it, right? What about all those other cryptocurrencies out there?
You're absolutely right. Bitcoin was the trailblazer, But since then, thousands of other cryptocurrencies have emerged, each with its own unique characteristics and potential uses.
Wow, thousands.
Yeah, we call those altcoins.
Altcoins. So it's like a whole galaxy of digital currencies, each with its own mission. Are there any standout altcoins you think our listeners should know about?
One prominent example is Ethereum.
Ethereum, I've heard of that.
While Bitcoin primarily focuses on being a digital currency, Ethereum is more like a platform.
A platform, okay.
It allows developers to build decentralized applications, or dApps.
So if Ethereum is the platform, dApps are like the apps we use on our phones.
Exactly. These dApps can range from financial tools and games to supply chain management systems and even social media platforms.
Wow, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
They really are.
It's amazing to see how much innovation is happening in this space. But with so many options out there, it must be overwhelming for the average person to know where to start.
It definitely can be. It's essential to do your research, understand the risks involved, and approach it with a critical mindset. This is still a relatively new and evolving field, and unfortunately, there are scams and fraudulent projects out there.
So a healthy dose of skepticism is always a good thing. But for those who are willing to learn and take calculated risks, there seems to be a world of opportunity in the crypto space.
Absolutely. The cryptocurrency world is constantly evolving with new projects and innovations emerging all the time. It's a truly exciting time to be a part of this revolution.
As we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think if we connect this back to the bigger picture, Bitcoin and that broader cryptocurrency movement, they represent a fundamental shift in how we think about money finance and even technology itself.
Yeah.
This paradigm shift has the potential to reshape not just our economy, but our society as a whole.
From digital pizzas to the potential for reshaping the global financial system, it's been an incredible journey exploring the world of Bitcoin. And as you said, this is really just the beginning.
Exactly. The future of Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency space is still being written.
Right.
There will undoubtedly be challenges along the way, but the potential for positive change is immense.
It's up to all of us to stay informed, engage in these important conversations, and help shape this exciting new landscape responsibly and ethically. So the next time someone asks you what's the deal with Bitcoin, you can confidently say, let me tell you about a wild ride that started with 2 pizzas.
And who knows, maybe one day those pizzas will be in a museum, a symbol of the disruptive innovation that changed the world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Bitcoin. We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.